experience of the organizations engaged in terms of what we try to monitor. So it doesn't matter the technology part, just the fact that, because the major challenge which we had was to figure out what we tried to collect and why and how it fits into developing information useful for decision makers. So it's more than just an exercise in data collection. So I think this body of knowledge which SMART offers is incredibly important and relevant to us. On the technology side, I'm very excited next year to start exploring how maybe SMART can fit with some of our ongoing programs. Now we use Android systems, the Google, based on Google and Azure Cloud. So it's a different technology, but what I hope is that as long as we're all moving towards the cloud and making our system to be cloud friendly, in the cloud we'll be able to merge all this information. So even though, let's say, the partners inside the protected area would use SMART and communities outside would use Android data, they'll be able to merge in the cloud. So this is my major hope, which we have to test next year. So this is kind of my quick feedback.
One other thing that we found by rolling out NIST in lots of different places and then having regional meetings where the different national agencies who are using NIST come together to talk about their data, it's a really interesting sort of peer encouragement, peer pressure thing. So when you come to a meeting and your patrolling doesn't seem to be doing or evolving as rapidly or as effectively as some other countries, it's not the NGOs saying, come on, get a better job at this. It's the organizations themselves, by doing show and tell. Boy, it's an incredibly powerful motivator to get people to really up the ante and up their efforts to do law enforcement well. So again, I think one of the things that I'm really looking forward to in broadening the community is figuring out how we can have the community share what they're doing in some ways as a way to encourage, to lift the boats, to have everyone's quality of performance go up, because no one wants to look like you're the last folks on the platform. Jake?
Yeah, I have a quick question. So we obviously, as a small NGO, we make a different decision how we want to build our monitoring tools. We decided to go with Google Cloud and Azure Cloud, which are systems which will be supported, by these institutions, and we try to avoid those bottlenecks when we end up with one person in the world who can do, certain coding. So what I'm wondering is what steps you did, or how you assure to avoid such bottlenecks in the future with SMART, and it will be interesting to know.
Well, one of the things is when the technical team who worked with Refraction, the software company, we're also in communication with Jack Dangerman at the Esri to make sure that the toolkit that we're putting together is going to be something that Esri's data model, it'd be compatible with Esri's data model. Because absolutely right. We absolutely did not want to go down the path of NIST, which was brilliant in 1997, but ran out of steam. So the whole purpose was to create this platform that was compatible with other data models, which allows us to move things backwards and forwards. I thought in the long term, our discussions with Jack Dangerman is the head of Esri, the biggest GIS software company on the planet. And he's really, really keen on where we're going with this. And he's really keen on seeing ways that we could, with the SMART data sets, could actually go onto our GIS, their online system, because that would be great.
Just to understand as well, we are working with Nokia about making sure that the database, or at least the data sheets, are compatible with their smartphones, and we want
chair of the African Elephant Fund Steering Committee that was established to evaluate projects and oversee the implementation of the African Elephant Action Plan. But what I want to know is what equipment, what hardware is required for this, because we had our first round of projects, and the reality is in Africa there's no resources. So when you talk about smartphones and all kinds of things and computers and iPads and whatever, the needs are far more practical in reality. For example, some particular areas don't even have uniforms and proper shoes to equip their guards to do patrols. And we're talking about, I mean, this is great. I think it's got lots of potential. But I'm just worried about how are you going to equip people in terms of giving them the right equipment, considering that the needs are much more basic in the field out there. So
that's a great point. And to be honest, in most of the places that we gather data using MIST or have gathered data using MIST, you need a pencil and a piece of paper. That's all you need. And someone back in the warden's office does need a laptop, needs a computer.
You do need a GPS as well. It's a paper pencil and a GPS, which are $200 these days.
And that's about the limits of what you need. And that works. The reason that we're thinking about moving to an application on an Android phone is just to smooth the movement of information into the database. But frankly, the paper and pencil stuff with a GPS works just fine.
Sorry. My name's Joe Wilson, and I'm the Asia Director with WCS, and I'm getting back to your point there. Do we need this? We're talking a lot about bells and whistles here as well, and as with all applications, I think the core of it is we very much wanted to build something at its heart is a simple and practical and useful. Sometimes we all get a bit carried away with what it can do. The next generation, or can I make a cappuccino in the morning?
Will it? I'm buying one right now.
But at its essence, it does something very, very simple. And as with all great, I think, good tools, it does a few things very well in a very robust way. And with that comes a very simplistic set of requirements. Sure, in some sites, they won't keep the resources or the ability even to get to this level. But nowadays, I still in many of the sites, we intentionally designed it not to require high-end GIS uses, as David explained. It doesn't have high-end demands on either computers or the skills associated with it. And actually, at the essence, what we've got to continue to speak about partners and governments is that will be the same, regardless of what we talk about with what I can do on my new iPad or my iPad. That's going to remain the same, whatever happens.
In Zambia, in one of our projects in Zambia, we didn't even have, initially the Park Service didn't even have a computer. They had a big blackboard with a map of the protected area with grid marks and chalk on it. And the patrols would come back, and they had a GPS, so they knew where they were going. They would come back and they'd mark with white chalk the X's of where they went. And they'd mark what they saw with yellow or red chalk. It was a Blackboard GIS, and it worked great though, because the warden was able to come in and see where did they go and what did they see. Zero technology unless you've got a blackboard and chalk, but it worked great. So I think we do get the fact that many places have very, very great limits about what they can and can't do. And so we really have thought hard about making sure that the really resource limited agencies aren't left out of this process. Jane?
You might have answered this question, but will this be turned into an iPad app or packaged in that way as opposed to a sort of PC-based system?
Yeah, I think the idea is that hopefully, Firefox is a good example. People have done developed amazing little things individually for Firefox and add-ons to serve their own specific needs. And what we're hoping is that the broader community will do exactly that. We're concentrating on the core elements of that, but what we hope by having a large group of people as part of the coalition, there'll be some interested people who want to develop this cool app for this type of medium, and that'll be available to people. And so we hope that it's going to be adopted across a wide range of platforms and a wide range of functions as well. Again, I think just to reiterate the point is that the capacity and the scope of development is huge. And the way it was written and designed with the software company is intentionally it was designed so people can build onto it. So there's two elements of it. There is the platform, and then there are the elements on top of that which have been designed down on.
And we specifically had refractions build it with components that had no copyright on it. So it's not compiled software going to be available?
I wasn't talking, sorry. I meant, could it be, basically, could I go onto an iPad, download it,
And run it.
Right, that's correct. In other words, can it be basically run on a tablet?
At some stage, yes. Yes. So Refractions, as a software company, they have a very specific set of requirements. When we designed that, one of the questions was not would we like to work on the Galaxy or the iPad at that stage, but as part of the business planning workshop that's happening, these are the kind of questions that we need to build into the business plan, because the next generation of media or whatever are being designed now. And that's a key element actually you touch on. That's a key element of the business plan. It's not just what we can do now or what we planned to do 6 months ago, but now what we need to do to incorporate that.
Could it exponentially increase the market?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, it would make it from a niche to a not niche.
But I do want to say, and for many of us whose audience is our governments, you know, what we will envisage as real success is that, as is happening now, the government of Thailand adopt this, and they can call it what they like. They don't have to call it smart. They can call it something naughty and Thai, but they actually adopt this and want to use this. That's for us as a real victory if they can do that. Now, what we don't want to do with them is to scare people off in terms of complexity or its appropriateness or value to them. So you'll forgive us sometimes that some of us seem very narrow-minded and focus on the core elements, because ultimately that's what we want to sell and make sure that people will adopt.
And then, sorry. First.
Oh, sorry. I'm Susie Ellis. I'm with the International Rhino Foundation. We're a small but feisty organization that does rhino protection in Africa and Asia. We've been trained in this, and the Indonesian teams have been trained in this by WCS and also by WWF, but we had huge problems implementing it because of the size of the grid cells. So my question is, are they standardized in the smart system, or are they adaptable to the particular context of a particular?
Completely flexible.
Okay.
The user defines what goes on.
So I'd like to make a commitment to test it with our program there.
So you'll get your $20 now, is that something?
Yeah. Maybe even a cup of coffee. But are the materials available in other languages yet, or is the translation yet to be done? And can you do on-site training? In my experience, it works better if you're training people actually in the place they're working rather than have them go away and come back and train.
We've been very lucky to secure some funds to do on-site training, yes. And as we learn about more organizations who are interested in using SMART, given the resources that we have to do trainings, we would of course be delighted to invite those new partners, those new members to come and join us in trainings. Absolutely.
And
So
to
this-
send that, sorry, one.
So this is one of the key things for us going into the business planning is, yes, we can have all the training materials up on the web in numerous different languages, but as a partnership, are we going to be responsible for doing trainings all over the world, or are we going to be responsible for doing training with trainers, or are we just going to provide the trainings on the web? That's a question we haven't answered yet as a partnership. Obviously, in BBS, WWF and WCS both work there. We work in Junku, so in individual cases like that, it's not going to be an issue, but we haven't figured out yet what the demand will be, and therefore what we as a partnership can deliver. If it just stays 6 organizations, there's no way we're going to be able to deliver training on the ground for everybody. If it becomes 100 organizations by the end of next year, if someone needs a training, we can always just put out a request on the website and say, who's got a trainer that can help here for 5 days? So we want this to be a global community supporting each other around this. And again, we want feedback from you as to what you think would work best in your situations, knowing that not every organization will be able to have smart experts that can do the training on this.
You should say on the language issue, so perhaps Indonesian will be one of the languages early on that will be translated into. Someone mentioned that the language in which it's written allows for non-Roman characters, which the MIST did not. And so it's going to be, we're doing it in Mandarin Chinese, in Russian Cyrillics, and so it will be available and easily translatable. Of course, a lot of the language is actually relative. Once you get your nomenclature right, it's actually a very basic process to get into whatever language you like.
I actually had low expectations. I was assuming I had very slightly issues.
So we have you and you.
Thank you. I'm Jenny Gray. I'm from Zeus Victoria in Melbourne. Kind of a question and a thought. The question being how many users you have, because while you talk about partners and funders, you haven't really talked about users, and that's quite interesting. I'm assuming you're going to replace all the misusers, and so you've already got a kind of conversion basis going on there. And then the thought part is that as zoos, we fund conservation projects all around the world. And it might be a kind of package you offer that if you're funding rangers in Kenya, or we would fund rangers in Kenya and Papua New Guinea and the Philippines, that we ask them to use SMART straight up, and you just package it as something. If the training's available and the software's available, is there a kind of $5,000 per deployment that we could then ask the zoo community, if you're going to fund rangers, fund this on top of that package and just up the productivity of what you do.
That's a super idea. That's a great idea.
And we could take that to the conference in October. WCS could bring it into the Conservation Committee as a suggestion, and we could probably get some support around the table quite quickly.
No, that's a brilliant idea.
I've actually spoken to a couple of other donors in that kind of light, because it gives you monitoring data, performance data that no other system does. So if you're going to say zoos, whatever, if you're going to be funding protected area work, then this is the way to get the data, and you can compare then you as a donor to other donors and how they are implementing. So,
but it also deals with some of her concerns, because we are funding uniforms and shoes and all those basic things. This then gives you that next layer of effectiveness.
Yeah, that's brilliant. From the other perspective, I do think for those who, most people in this room continues to struggle also for enough support and funding for their own conservation activities on the ground. It is a very powerful mechanism for communicating with existing and potential funders, and that shouldn't shouldn't shy away from that. It's a very strong way of visually talking to people about what is happening at a site, getting people connected to that. So I wouldn't underestimate also the value of it as a fundraising tool as well.
To answer the question on how many sites, certainly WF and WCS and the other partners are going to be looking at converting all of their MIST sites over into smart sites. Some governments are taking it up, the Thai government, especially where the WCS is taking it up across their protected area system. The Nepal government, down in the back, who's the director of Chitwan National Park, they're already implementing MIST, or who's hopefully switching over to smart, and again, across the country.
Government of Peru is beginning to think about
yes, Gabon is interested. So, it's getting enough. I think there's a critical mass that will start happening very quickly where it becomes a standard.
And I think that talks to your question of your business planning model, is what you're actually looking for. If you're rolling it out free, or are you rolling it out to governments at a cost that just keeps it tracking along? Any of these big monitoring databases, so ISIS is a model to go just spend some time looking at, where there's a membership fee for everyone who deploys. The cheaper you can keep that, that's great, but it gives you that recurrent ongoing revenue stream that's then bolstered by big donors and development pushers. but gives you some sustainability.
There is a very good point in there about also that worth. We all want to make something free. On the other hand, free things tend to be undervalued.
And it doesn't have to be expensive to just have that value. So you don't want the price to be a barrier, but if it just keeps that tracking along, it's worth doing.
No, and we have an example through the group called the Conservation Measures Partnership. It's about 11 years old now. It was started by myself and 2 colleagues at Nature Conservancy in WWF. It was designed to bring together people to try and figure out how do we do better results-based management, how do we do strategic planning. We decided to give away the tool and the software for nothing, but have a very, very small membership fee. A membership fee that really wasn't a barrier to anybody actually doing it. But it's enough to pay a small secretariat to keep the organization going. And I think that's one of the models that we might be talking about at the business plan.
It's something we are going to talk about. I would actually just ask, I don't know.